I want to start this video with saying that everything does not have to become a mental health issue. And let me start with saying this. The reason why I emphasize mental wellness, mental well-being, spiritual well-being is because I have seen the tragedy of energy that is not managed. I've seen the grief of unresolved pain. So whenever you see me get really passionate about taking care of ourselves, just know that this hits home for me. I'm not going to go into details. I'm not going to reveal any identities around how this hits home for me. But I've lost too many lives from the time I was younger to now. I've seen so many of the adults I love transform to a lesser version of themselves because they did not resolve their pain. And 10 years ago, we did not speak about mental wellness, mental health the way we do now. Self-care was foreign. No one was talking about that. So, or maybe 15 years ago, no one was talking about that. So I want to say that everything doesn't have to become a mental health issue. If you see your child or yourself struggling with something, the time that you take to see something, if you decide to see it, and I'm encouraging you to keep your eyes open and be honest, the time between seeing something and addressing something determines the outcome for that person. So if you see something, as we say in public safety, say something. If you see something in your child, if you see something in yourself, say something to somebody, someone who will sincerely support your growth, who will sincerely support your healing. Now, when I think about my own journey and how it's taken every day up until this point, a conscious decision to be well, despite what I saw growing up, despite the unresolved challenges I had into a certain age, and it was showing up in all my relationships, it was showing up in my hair, it was showing up in my teeth, it was showing up in my relationships. I was very unhappy. I didn't have the emotional literacy. And I had an emotional condition, what we call codependency issues. So everything doesn't have to become a mental health issue. I'm going to talk about one way that we can support our young people and ourselves with developing our vocabulary. And then the time between you see something and you address something determines the outcome. I want you to be whole. I don't want you just to be healed. Bishop Jakes brought this to my attention. 10 lepers were healed. One came back to say, thank you. That was the one that was made whole because his consciousness was revived. He could acknowledge that he had come to a different state of being. Wholeness. I'm a preacher. I won't preach in this video. But I really want to drive us home to each other with this message. So I've got my handy dandy emotion cards. I'm going to see some more of these videos. And I want to just take 2 emotions that we can, that are very easy to feel, okay? But before I show you those emotions, let me say this. Tony Robbins, premier coach, he asked the question, I've heard in his videos, I haven't been to any of his seminars, but seminars, and he talks about the emotional address. So where do you live? Okay, and I want you to ask yourself that question because this is a really great question. Where do you typically find yourself feeling certain emotions? So I picked up 2 cards, and we have defeated, okay, and we have confident. Okay, got the ring light showing up. Okay, so there goes confident, and there goes, let's see if we can get in there, defeated. Okay, so when we live in a place of dichotomy, either I'm confident or I'm feeling defeated, that right there can set us up for a place where we are not able to find a balance because we're either here or here. And any emotional condition that is not addressed can turn into emotional dysregulation, which can lead to mood disorders, which can lead to mental health conditions of different sorts. Now, I'm not a clinician, so I don't have all of the diagnostic language for you, and I don't know everything that the diagnostic manual says. But what I can say is, from the neuroscience, anything prolonged over time becomes a certain type of condition, and you can determine, within yourself what type of condition you want to be in, because even people with disabilities can do amazing things. I've seen, there's this motivational speaker, I can't think of his name right now. He has no arms and no legs, and he is out there living. Look him up, out there living, okay? There are people who are blind, and they decided they're not going to let that be an impediment for them. There was a young man in Sacramento, Ben Underwood, who skateboarded and ran down the stairs, visually impaired. Now, I don't skateboard and I can see, but this young man didn't let anything get in his way, okay? So let me go back to my original point, because you all know I can take the course to another direction. So these two emotions, confident, defeated, either I'm this or I'm this. What I want to get us to think about is there is an emotional range, okay? And the cool thing is, you could have, there's a way to take in between confident and defeated. You just don't feel defeated one day and then confident the next. If you have a mood disorder, it's possible that your symptoms show up this way. But what I want to invite us to do is think about the emotions that can show up in between, okay? So in an activity, what I would do is, okay, we have these cards. Show me the spectrum between confident and defeated. What are some emotions you feel between confidence and defeat? Okay, and make sure you have the young person's definition of what defeated feels like for them, because your definition can vary. You want to have their definition, so you're seeing the world from their eyes. You can step into their world, help them become aware of the tools that they have, and then support from there. Okay, so what does confident mean to them? Okay, and then asking, what are the emotions that can be experienced in between these two? Okay, and this is where our emotional literacy can expand. So we have confident and defeated, but we can also have curious. Okay, I'm curious about that. And when you're feeling a certain emotion and it may not sit well with you, ask. This is a tool anyone can use anytime. It doesn't cost you anything. What's going on with me right now? A little self-reflection, a little self-examination. What's happening right now? I was feeling this way. My energy shifted. What happened? What happened? Okay? And that helps you to become aware of the shift within yourself. So you want to be curious, okay? And then you may do a few, more reflective question and answers with yourself or someone outside of you, and you could have some surprise, okay? And then after a little more reflection and examination, I hope you would come to a place of, hopeful, okay? And so now we have created, with these cards, we have created a spectrum of emotions, and we're building our vocabulary. So it's not just, I feel good, I feel bad, I feel horrible, I feel all right. We want to build our vocabulary. So you can go from defeated. Well, I feel defeated right now. Why do I feel defeated? Let me get curious. Curiosity is a gateway emotion to elevated emotions, okay? Elevated emotions. Look at Dr. Joe Dispenza, elevated emotions. And then surprised. I didn't know I felt that way, or I didn't know I looked at it that way. And then hopeful. Well, you know what? Hard days are part of a good life. Okay. And then confident. You see, everything doesn't have to go into something that's insurmountable. Everything doesn't have to become a mental health issue. So the key to this video is, if you can identify what typical emotions you feel. Normally I feel this way or this way. Or if you're in the habit of you live in a dichotomy, come out of the dichotomy. There's more than two. There's at least 5 sides to it. Okay, when we're talking about emotions, give yourself at least 5 on the spectrum, not just two, because it's not either or, it's both and. Okay, so you want to be able to give yourself the freedom to expand between those emotions. Let me know how this activity works for you, what your thoughts are. I look forward to hearing from you soon.